Well, hello good people. This is one of a series of videos on the Rusky group of Yak-52 for X-Plane. I love this little aircraft. It has bags of character and you need to treat it with a fair amount of respect to fly it well. First, a little bit about the real aircraft. The Yak-52 is a Russian two-seat aerobatic trainer which was first produced in the mid-70s. It has a 360 horsepower 9-cylinder radial engine. The model here is very well done with 4K PBR textures and very nice rivet work. This is the front seat where you sit, and if I just press this button here, this is the rear seat for the instructor to keep an eye on you. So back into the front seat. As you can see, the textures are very well done to represent a well-worn, well-used aircraft. Very nice leather seats, and you can see you got sort of a plushy suede leather side or interior down here covering the bits and pieces. Okay, so the cockpit can be opened by moving this latch here, and if you just do it once, it goes, just opens it for a bit of fresh air basically, and then if you just do another click, it'll open it fully. Don't ask me what this ball is for. I've not the foggiest notion. When you close the cockpit, if I can close the cockpit, there we go. Obviously the ball moves forward. I can't see what it's actually for, but I'm sure someone will tell me in the comments. Nothing else there really. Okay, so what we'll do, we'll have a look at the instruments. Oh, before I do that, this little thing which sticks out of the wing just tells you when the landing gear is down. You've got one on each wing. Okay, and there's one at the front there, so they disappear when your landing gear goes up. It's just an indicator. So I'll go through all the instruments that we have here. Look down here. This is a valve to open the internal air pressure cylinder. Just make sure that it is actually open. It is. It must be open or you will not be able to use the landing gear, the flaps, or indeed start the engine, because it uses pneumatic pressure to turn the prop. This is a bank of switches for various electrics in the aircraft. This is a cockpit light, the flap lever, trim wheel here. And this is a generator voltage adjuster, which is inoperable in this model. What else have we got here? So this is the throttle lever, the prop lever, and this is a friction lock, which again doesn't work. We also have a fuel valve lever, back to close it, forward to open. Okay, on this part of the panel there is a stall test button, an air pressure gauge, the undercarriage lever here, and there is a little button which locks the lever down to avoid any nasty accidents. These sets of lights show the state of the gear, and these lights the state of the flaps. This is the magneto switch, and under a little flap is the starter button. On the main part of the panel, up here we have an accelerometer to show you how many G you're pulling. This is a compass, and this is a bank of warning lights, unfortunately in Russian. Okay, on the main part of the panel, just here, we have a manifold pressure gauge, the RPM gauge, the airspeed, the altimeter and clock, and we've got an attitude indicator, a gyro compass, carburetor inlet temperature. This is a rate of climb gauge, this is an ammeter, and this is a digital fuel gauge for the left-hand tank and the right-hand tank. These two gauges here are, well, it might be perhaps the most important. This is the cylinder head temperature gauge, fuel pressure, oil pressure and oil temperature. These gauges tend to have to be monitored all the time. If they get out of bounds, then you are likely to blow the engine. Okay, on the right hand side we have a primer for the fuel line and engine. This is an audio panel, the radio, switches for the battery, generator, ignition and pitot. The just in front of this lever, just behind it, is a fuel injection switch. These levers, 3 levers here, these 2 here are cooling controls for the oil and engine, and this is a locking lever to stop the controls moving back and forwards with the vibration of the engine. And here is a mixture heating control. Lastly, we have a landing light, a navigation light. This is the emergency gear release. This is the ADF panel, and this is the gyromagnetic compass panel. Okay, here are a few quirky things with this aircraft. The parking brake switch, which is this thing here, is connected to the brake lever, and to turn the parking brake off and on, you have to pull the brake back and then switch over the parking brake. It's a little bit fiddly. I've mapped the both the brake lever and the parking brake lever to my joystick so I can do it easily. Steering is a little bit difficult. After a bit of experimentation, I've worked out that to steer the aircraft you use the rudders as you would normally. So if I wanted to turn right, I'll move the rudder to the right and pull the parking brake back. It's a little bit unusual, but you do get used to it. Let me just put it right back, and there we go. Okay, so that's that. The cockpit does fog up quite readily, so you have to be at hand with the airflow heating control here. And the last quirky thing is that it has an iPad, which I've just put up here, and you use the iPad for the groundwork here, which I'll come to later. There is the ADF channel designations, which I will also talk about later. There's a repair screen where you can, yes, you do have to use that quite often. There's an AVI tab, which I don't have, and there's the setup screen, which again I don't normally use. So I'll just put that down here, put it back. There's a little pouch, and we are pretty much ready to go. So the next video will be how to start this beast, and I will see you there.